In life, we often find ourselves at crossroads, facing choices filled with both opportunity and uncertainty. What separates those who succeed from those who hesitate is not luck, but the ability to see clearly and act decisively. This is not impulsiveness, nor recklessness. It is a powerful blend of clear-headed perception and unshakable confidence. But what exactly is this skill of perception and decision-making? Why do those who possess it often rise faster, go further, and stand stronger in the face of uncertainty? Let's explore this essential life skill in depth. You can't change the world if you don't even have the courage to change yourself. You keep telling others that you have dreams. You keep assuring yourself that you have potential, talent, and ambition. But years have passed, and you're still stuck, still living a life that you yourself can't be proud of. Still trapped in the same jobs, relationships, and routines that drain you, all because you don't dare to make a decision to end what's hurting you, or you're too afraid to start over. Deep down, you know what's wrong. You see the way out, but you stay silent. You endure. You accept. Why? Because you fear change. You fear failure. You fear losing the illusion of stability. Even if that stability is just a prison of mediocrity, stagnation, and missed opportunities. Look in the mirror and ask yourself honestly, am I living like a coward? Am I someone who's too afraid to walk away from what breaks me, yet too weak to fight for what could fulfill me? The truth hurts, but only the truth can wake you up. Life does not reward the weak, and it certainly doesn't hand out blessings to those who sit around waiting for miracles. If you don't learn to see things with clarity and act with courage, then you'll always be a background character in your own story. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to choose what's right and take that first step without hesitation. Even if it's hard, even if it's risky, because that's what it takes to become a grown, self-respecting, and powerful human being. And if right now, you're still putting off a decision you should have made a long time ago, start today. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. Reflect deeply, be bolder, be more decisive. Don't let your life be a collection of regrets wrapped in the words, "what if?" If this message resonates with you, if it strikes something inside your heart, then don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a single piece of content that can reshape your thinking and empower you to live a fuller, braver life. You're not weak, you're simply carrying too much. Sometimes the reason we can't make decisions isn't because we're indecisive, lazy, or incapable. It's because we're tired of carrying the weight of so many expectations, fears, memories, and imagined consequences. And in that quiet exhaustion, we freeze, we delay. We wait for something or someone to come save us. But no one can make your choices for you. No one can truly know what your heart wants, what you've endured, or what your soul is whispering to you at 2 a.m. when everyone else is asleep. You are the only one who can listen to that voice and act on it. It's okay to be afraid. Let's begin here. It's okay to be afraid. Fear is human. Fear protects you. Fear reminds you that your decisions have consequences, but fear is not meant to be a permanent shelter. If you stay in it too long, it becomes a prison. A soft one, maybe, but a prison nonetheless. You might be afraid of choosing the wrong path, afraid of hurting others, afraid of leaving behind something familiar, even if it no longer nourishes your soul. But what if the true danger lies not in making the wrong choice, but in making none at all? Clarity comes when you stop rushing often. We think we need to have everything figured out before we act. We wait for the perfect sign, the perfect moment, the perfect amount of courage. But life rarely offers us perfect. What it gives us instead is gentle nudges, quiet discomfort, the growing ache in our chest that says, this is not it. And sometimes clarity doesn't come from thinking more. It comes from pausing, breathing, and asking yourself the question. Open quote. If I loved myself truly and deeply, what would I choose right now? Close quote. This question doesn't demand logic. It demands honesty. You don't need to be loud to be brave. You don't have to shout your decisions to the world. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. Sometimes the most powerful decisions are made in silence, when you quietly remove yourself from situations that hurt, when you say no without explanation, when you take a small, quiet step toward what brings you peace. Bravery isn't always grand. Sometimes it looks like deleting a number, turning off a notification, saying, "I need time." Bravery often looks like softness with boundaries. You don't need to change everything overnight. You just need to start listening more deeply to yourself and trust that the smallest decision can open the largest door. The world won't collapse if you choose differently. Maybe the people around you are used to a version of you that's always agreeable, always safe, always putting others first. But the truth is, you're allowed to change. You're allowed to want something different now. You're allowed to choose yourself without guilt. Yes, some people may not understand. Yes, it might hurt for a while. But you are not here to live someone else's script. Choosing a path that honors your peace is not selfish. It is necessary. The world will adjust, because it always does. And when it sees that you are living with integrity and care, it often learns to respect the boundaries you set. You've already survived so much. Give yourself credit. Think of all the choices you've already made that have brought you here. Think of the silent battles you've fought, the nights you cried and still got up in the morning, the moments you doubted yourself and still showed up. If you've survived that, then surely you have the strength to make one more decision for you, even if it's small, even if it's not perfect, because every decision made in honesty brings you closer to who you really are. There is no shame in taking time. If you're not ready to make a big decision today, that's okay too. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is to rest before the leap, to gather your strength, to gently untangle the knots of your mind and wait until your heart feels clearer. You don't have to force yourself into certainty. Let it arrive. Let it build inside you like a quiet wave until the decision no longer feels like pressure, but like truth. You deserve a life that feels like home. At the core of every decision, there's usually one simple question. Will this bring me closer to the life I want to wake up to every morning? Not the life that pleases others, not the life that looks perfect on social media, but the life where you can breathe, laugh, heal, grow. A life that feels like home in your own skin. You are worthy of that life. But it begins with a single, quiet, courageous decision. Maybe it's messy, maybe it's clumsy, but if it's yours, if it's aligned with your truth, it will always be right. You're not alone. If you're reading this and it resonates, know this: you're not the only one who feels stuck, unsure, or afraid. Many of us are walking this path, learning to trust ourselves again after years of silencing our voice. But each time we choose to listen, to truly, compassionately listen, we get stronger, more peaceful, more whole. And from that wholeness, decision becomes easier. Not because the risk is gone, but because we've remembered who we are. If this message speaks to you in even the smallest way, take a moment to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Not just to support this channel, but as a quiet declaration to yourself. I'm ready to live with more gentleness, more honesty, and more courage. You're not weak, you're just beginning again. And that's something to be deeply proud of. Listening to your heart is not selfish. It's a brave act of honesty. Have you ever felt like you were living a life that no longer resonates with your heart? Waking up each morning for a job that drains you. Staying in a relationship where you pretend everything is fine, even though something inside you is slowly fading. Holding on to plans that no longer feel right, just because you're afraid of change, afraid of judgment, afraid of loss. Here's the truth. You don't have to keep living that way. We are often taught how to please others, but rarely are we taught how to listen to ourselves. We grow used to sacrificing, enduring, staying silent, so much so that we forget something essential. You are a human being who also deserves love, peace, and the right to live in alignment with your own feelings. Wanting to take a new direction, wanting to let go, or wanting to start over. These are not signs of weakness. They are signs of courageous honesty. Honesty with your heart. Honesty with what no longer fits. Honesty with the fact that some parts of your life are asking to change. Try asking yourself this simple question. If no one would be disappointed, angry, or confused, what would I choose for myself right now? Whatever that answer is, however small or quiet, it holds a piece of your real happiness. You don't have to act on it all at once. You don't have to make drastic changes overnight, but you do need to stop turning away from it. You don't need a grand plan. Sometimes, healing begins with just saying no to something that drains you, or whispering enough to the parts of life that have become too heavy. That is already a powerful step forward. No one else is living your life. No one else feels what you feel when you wake up in the morning. No one else carries your heart, your memories, your quiet hopes. So if there's something inside of you knocking softly, please don't ignore it. Don't tell yourself it's not the right time. Slow down. Breathe. Begin by offering yourself the same compassion and understanding that you've given to others so many times. You don't have to figure it all out today, but you do have the right to take the first step toward coming home to yourself. Not choosing is still a choice, and often the most painful one. There are moments in life when you don't have to raise your voice or make an immediate decision, but time, quiet and persistent, is still asking you to choose. Every day that passes, every delay, every time you whisper, maybe tomorrow, is another quiet step away from the life that could have brought you peace. Not choosing doesn't mean nothing changes. Life doesn't pause. If you don't choose your direction, life will choose it for you, and often without your consent. Avoiding decisions doesn't keep you safe. It just keeps you stuck in discomfort, prolonging the ache of uncertainty. You can't hold on, but you're too scared to let go. You live in limbo, and in that space, your spirit starts to quietly wither. And then, one day, you look back and realize the most painful moments in your life were not from wrong decisions, but from the moments when you did nothing, when you stayed, waited, and silently watched your dreams slip away. You don't need to be 100% sure, just honest, with 51% of your heart. Here's something tender and true. You'll rarely feel fully certain. You won't have every answer, every sign, or every ounce of courage in place. But you don't need 100%. Sometimes just 51% of your heart quietly knowing this is right is enough. That isn't recklessness, it's truth. It's choosing to no longer ignore your needs. It's choosing to stop numbing your instincts to keep others comfortable. It's the soft, brave act of admitting, I may not know the whole road, but I know I can't stay here. Choose what warms your soul. Choose the road that brings your breath back. Even if it's not perfect, even if it's longer. The peace of living honestly far outweighs the comfort of pretending. Peace doesn't come from the perfect choice. It comes from choosing at all. So many of us hold out for guarantees. We want to be sure. We want signs, safety, and solid footing before we leap. But peace isn't found in certainty. It's found in sincerity. Peace says, even if this is hard, I chose it with care. Even if this takes time, I honored myself. And when you do that, when you choose with truth, not fear, life responds. It may not always make things easier, but it makes them real. And real is where healing begins. Real is where possibility lives. You might not know exactly what you want, but you know what you can't bear anymore. Clarity doesn't always come in the form of a grand vision. Sometimes it arrives as a quiet knowing. I can't do this anymore. I can't keep pretending this is fine. I don't want to sacrifice my inner peace for appearances. You don't need to know the full future. You just need to listen to that quiet voice that says, this isn't it. And when you do, you've already started choosing to pause, to reflect, to protect what's sacred within you. Ask yourself, with love, how many more months or years am I willing to trade for something that no longer aligns with who I'm becoming? Even the smallest decision is a way to reclaim your power. Don't pressure yourself to fix everything today. You don't have to uproot your life in one sweeping gesture. Sometimes the bravest decisions are the smallest ones. Waking up 20 minutes earlier, journaling what's in your heart, saying no softly, letting go gently. Every small decision is a message to your spirit. I'm listening to you now. I won't ignore you anymore. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to begin. Life will move with or without you. Let it move with your permission. Life is always in motion. Whether you act or don't, change is happening. But when you choose, you shape that change. You get to guide it. Without choice, you drift. With choice, you direct. And yes, letting go hurts. Saying goodbye is difficult, but staying in places that no longer serve you, that no longer hold space for your joy, is far more painful in the long run. Let yourself feel the fear. Let yourself mourn the comfort of the familiar. But then, let yourself go. Let yourself step toward the unknown with the quiet strength you forgot you had. You are not late. You're just listening deeper now. Maybe you stayed too long. Maybe you waited too many times. Maybe you let silence become your answer. That's okay. Forgive yourself for that. Let go of the idea that you should have known better. You are not behind. You are simply ready now. More aware, more awake, more in tune with what matters. Begin again, with softness, with grace, with love for the version of you that tried their best with the tools they had. You deserve a life that feels like peace, not pressure. The core of every hesitation is often a longing to feel whole again. A longing to come back to a life where your smile is real, where your rest is deep, where your dreams feel possible again. That life is still waiting for you. Not the one that pleases everyone. Not the one that looks flawless on the outside, but the one where your soul can exhale. And it all starts with a single decision, a quiet, sacred promise to stop betraying yourself. If this message resonates with your heart, even gently, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Not just to stay updated, but as a soft yet powerful act of self-commitment. I am learning to choose. I am learning to trust myself. I am ready to come home to me. You are not weak. You are simply awakening. And your next chapter begins now. The life you want is already whispering. Are you ready to listen? Sometimes the answers we're looking for aren't hidden. They're just quiet. They're not lost. They're simply buried beneath years of noise, expectations, and doubt. The life you want isn't waiting at the end of some perfect plan. It's already whispering to you through your discomfort, through your restlessness, through the longing that rises in your chest when no one else is around. The question is, are you willing to listen? Your longing is not a weakness. We live in a world that tells us to be grateful for what we have. And yes, gratitude is powerful, but so is longing. Longing means there is a part of you that still believes in more. Not more material things, but more meaning, more depth, more alignment between who you are and how you live. Your longing is not selfish, it's sacred. It's your soul's way of saying you were made for something deeper. Ignoring that longing won't make it disappear. It will only make you feel smaller inside a life that doesn't quite fit. You don't need to apologize for wanting more peace, more purpose, more authenticity. That want is the beginning of becoming. You were never meant to live on autopilot. So many people move through life checking boxes. Go to school, get a job, get promoted, get married, have children, save for retirement. And yet, many arrive at their 30s, 40s, or 60s and feel a strange emptiness inside, like they did everything right, but somehow missed something essential. That missing piece? Often, it's the absence of intentional living. You were never meant to live a life where you only react to what happens. You were meant to co-create, to make choices based on what truly resonates with your spirit, not what satisfies a checklist. It's never too late to reclaim your agency, to step off the path others set for you, to ask gently and honestly, what do I want to wake up to each day? Small steps are still sacred steps. Maybe the life you want feels far away. Maybe it feels unrealistic or overwhelming. But here's the truth. Transformation doesn't always begin with a leap. Sometimes it begins with a pause, with a single boundary, with one moment of truth-telling, with the decision to stop pretending you're okay when you're not. You don't need to burn your life down. You don't need to explain yourself to everyone. You just need to start walking slowly toward what feels true. A 5-minute walk, a new book, a conversation you've been avoiding, a morning with no phone. These small acts may seem ordinary, but done with intention, they are sacred. They are the quiet bricks of a new life being built. Some people won't understand, but that's not a sign to stop. When you start choosing differently, some people might question you. They might say you've changed. They might make you feel guilty for not staying who you used to be. But you're not here to be understood by everyone. You're here to be true to yourself. The life you're building doesn't need everyone's approval. It only needs your alignment. And the people who are meant to walk with you will celebrate your growth, not resist it. Courage doesn't always feel like bravery. Sometimes it feels like surrender. We often imagine courage as a loud, heroic act. But in truth, courage is often quiet. It's the decision to keep going even when your voice shakes. It's the act of letting go, not because you're weak, but because you finally love yourself enough to stop holding on to what hurts. Surrender isn't giving up. It's giving in to the truth that you've outgrown something, to the knowing that you deserve more than survival. that you deserve to feel joy, not just relief, wonder, not just function, presence, not just pressure. You are not behind, you are being prepared. Maybe your journey hasn't looked like others. Maybe you've paused more, cried more, wandered more. That doesn't make you behind, it makes you human. Every delay, every detour, every heartbreak, it was shaping you, teaching you, softening you. So when the right life does arrive, you're not just ready, you're deeply capable of holding it with care. Trust the timing of your path. Trust that nothing was wasted. You are exactly where your next chapter begins. You're allowed to choose again. One of the most healing things you can remember is this: you can choose again. You can choose again, even if you've stayed too long, even if you've said yes too often, even if you've gone in circles. Every single day is a doorway, and you are always allowed to turn the handle and walk through. There is no shame in outgrowing a version of yourself. There is only wisdom, and there is peace waiting for you on the other side of honesty. The life you want is not a fantasy, it's a possibility. What if the life you want is closer than you think? What if it's not a dream, but a choice away? What if you stopped calling it too late and started calling it just in time? The life you want isn't about perfection. It's about truth. It's about waking up and feeling like you are no longer at war with yourself. It's about laughter that's real, rest that's deep, work that matters, relationships that nourish. You don't have to keep postponing it. You don't have to keep negotiating with your heart. You can start creating it, little by little, from right where you are. If this message gently stirred something in you, if it reminded you of who you really are, then please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell. Not just to follow along, but as a small, sacred promise to yourself. I'm listening now. I'm ready to build a life that feels like home. You are not broken. You are not lost. You are simply returning to what was always yours. And that's the most powerful choice of all.